president would appoint. But the issue here now, like we are discussing here, I did not come here to tell you that the police chief or the military chief, I have researched up to this point
on
INEC, that for the fact that others have been doing it illegally does not mean that now that is a new era, as apostles of change, that we should do it properly.
No.
Because, let me finish, you asked me a question.
Okay.
If you permit me to read, you have a copy of your constitution there, to section 160, subsection 1 of the 1999 constitution as amended. It says, subject to subsection 2 of this section, any of the bodies with the approval of the president by rules or otherwise regulate its own procedure or confer powers and impose duties on any officer or authorities for the purpose of discharging its functions. That is anybody listed in, any of the body listed in 153, says with the approval of the president. But he now said provided, he provided a caveat that in the case of the Independent National Electoral Commissioner, it powers to make its own rules and regulation or otherwise regulate its own procedure shall not be subject to the approval or control of the president. Because, let me finish.
Make a brief.
Yes, because as an independent body, in regulating its administrative affairs, it shall not be subject to the president's interference.
Of the chairman.
What the president simply did that day was in violation of section 160 by acting somebody who has been handed over to hand over to somebody else. It's an interference. What the president ought to have done is to comply with section 154 to appoint a substantive chairman. Simple.
You are misleading. Okay. You are misleading the public. Let's state the facts as it transpired.
Go on.
The Constitution made an express provision that in appointing a substantive chairman of INEC, there must be a due consultation with the National Council of State.
Yes.
And then there will be a confirmation by the Senate. That is what the law says. Jega was about to retire, I think on 30th of June, and he handed over to Mr. Wali, and he made a statement, pending the time the president of the country will appoint either a chairman in acting capacity, or he had the statement clearly. Just give
continue.
It was on channels.
Okay, continue.
Because he has no right whatsoever to appoint anyone in acting capacity. Any chairman does not possess the right under any law to appoint anyone in an acting capacity. What he did was to hand over maybe to the most senior person, and he made a statement, a caveat, pending the time the president of the country will appoint someone in acting capacity. Please let me finish.
Okay.
And immediately the president put somebody in an acting capacity. One, because the Council of State will have to meet and he has to consult them. And it's actually they met after the appointment of this woman in acting capacity. If you remember where the Council of State met recently, where the governors came together and all that, there is no way he could have consulted them where there was no meeting whatsoever. And so there was no consultation. And nature abhors a vacuum. The president cannot allow a sensitive body like INEC not to have a chairperson in acting capacity pending the time. Caveat. Pending the time the substantive chairman of that body will be appointed. Are you following me? As I said earlier, when the law gives you power, express power to appoint, there are what you call implied power. He's a lawyer.
No, allow me to do the question here.
There is what you call implied power. And that implied power is not allow a vacuum. Because you have not made with the Council of State, you cannot allow that particular vacuum, sensitive position, a structure to be left in the hands of somebody who has no right whatsoever to have appointed. It's not you to determine the time.
So go ahead. I have listened to my learned and very good friend, brilliant lawyer, talk.
It's okay. Get to the question.
Wait. I want him to contradict me with the provisions of the Constitution. I just read Section 160 to you that empowers INEC to make laws to regulate its own administrative procedure.
What is the question?
What that means.
What's the question?
What that means is in administrative routine, if Jega is traveling out to America today or is traveling out of the country, is indisposed to perform his function.
He was not traveling.
Jega, wait, let me finish. Jega can even hand over to anybody. He does it.
He was not traveling.
Let me finish. I allowed you.
He was leaving office.
He can hand over to anybody in acting capacity. While he was leaving office, in your intro, he wrote a letter. From May 29th, the president already knew that Jega was leaving June 30th. Jega said, even if I'm offered an extension, I will not accept. And so it was obvious that Jega was going to leave office. And so, in leaving office, he wrote a letter to the president to say, I will leave so day, and I will hand over to a national commissioner. And so, the best thing that the president could have done would be set a machinery in motion, even if it means from May 29th, to ensure that, since you say nature abhors vacuum, that looking at the law...
You think there was substantive, there was enough time for the president to have done the consultation?
Let me land. Looking at the law, there is no, like I told you, he has not pointed to any section that says, President, appoint somebody in acting capacity. And so, since the law says you must appoint, you must consult. And so, now you have enough time. You know that the man there now will leave. And the law also says that you cannot interfere. You cannot interfere with the administrative arrangement.
Mr. Libros, I've allowed you to submit. I want to ask you a question. You have not asked me, asked me a question.
I just asked you a very simple question.
What question is this?
Cite a section of the Constitution that allows the president to appoint an acting chairman, an next chairman in acting capacity.
Okay,
show me the section in the
Mr. Libros, I'm very happy that I'm debating with a lawyer who knows the law. And I've also explained to you that in law, there is what we call express power, and there is what we call implied power.
Show me the law that gives you implied and express power.
Don't go that way. Issue. Show me the law. I'm telling you that the law allows the president, in the circumstances of what transpired, I've told you that